Oh, yeah. Welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. Johnny North is always here by my side. Not with me here in studio. Still miss you, Big Johnny. One day we'll be back. Johnny North live via satellite as he is. I am here at the Ringside Report Network studios, and we are here to talk professional wrestling as we do every week here on the program, Wrestling Uncensored. And the big question this week, is Randy Orton the next WWE champion? Will Randall Keith Orton reign once again, as it seems clear that he and Drew McIntyre are on a course to wrestle each other at Summerslam coming up August the 23rd. Welcome to August, as Summerslam is now 3 weeks away. And it does look like it'll be Randy versus Drew for the WWE Championship. A lot of things going on Raw. A lot of things going on Smackdown. A shocking finish to WWE Smackdown this week. Shocking. The Fiend attacking Alexa Bliss in the ring, applying the mandible claw to the goddess of the WWE, Alexa Bliss. Shocking stuff to end SmackDown this week, which we will get to. A lot of violence on women this week on SmackDown. Not only was Alexa Bliss assaulted by The Fiend, but Sonya Deville beating the hell out of Mandy Rose backstage and cutting her hair. Are we headed towards a hair versus hair match at SummerSlam? I hope so. That's what I'd like to see, brother. And where does Otis fit into all of this? And some shocking debuts on AEW this week. Matt Cardona. And you say, who is Matt Cardona? Well, you know him as Zack Ryder. But he's going to be Matt Cardona from now on in AEW. That's his real name. That's his shoot name. They didn't want to come up with a gimmick name for him. They just went with Matt Cardona, which, okay. And Ariane. I think they're calling her Ariane. Her real name is, I think, Ariane Andrews or something. Andrew.
She was Cameron.
Ariane Nicole Andrew, formerly Cameron in the WWE, one half of the Funkadactyls. If you remember Cameron with Naomi and Brodus Clay, and she was in the WWE for some time. She also made a big name for herself on Total Divas. I didn't know she was still in the wrestling business or even interested in wrestling. Hadn't heard of Ariane or Cameron in a long time, and now she debuts on AEW Dynamite, and we have some weird segments coming up over the next couple of weeks on Dynamite that they announced. This week, Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy are going to engage in a debate with a special guest moderator that's going to shock the world, according to Le Champion Chris Jericho. Also, in 2 weeks' time, on August the 12th, the FTR will host a Tag Team Appreciation Night. Don't know what that is, but we will find out, and we'll talk about it in a little bit here on Wrestling Uncensored. I want to talk about Randy and Drew right off the top. I think Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre was a big deal this week, and it sets up a very big match coming up at SummerSlam. And I'm going to say something here that will shock the Wrestling Uncensored universe. Those of you that have been watching or listening over the past, 502 episodes now, this is 502, you know that I've not been the biggest Randy Orton fan, especially in the first, say, 300 to 400 episodes. Not a huge fan of his work, but over the past couple of years, over the past year, and especially during the pandemic, Randy Orton has been impressing me, and I think it's time to put the WWE Championship on Randy Orton. And that will shock a lot of people. Johnny, I know you're a little bit surprised. You're not that surprised because, we talk a lot about wrestling, and you see the shift. You see me drifting more towards being a Randy fan because he's just doing solid work. But right now, I'm telling you, there's nobody else on Raw. Randy is the best guy going today. On a week-in, week-out basis, there's nothing better than Randy. There's nothing better than the Randy Orton storylines. It helps that he's got Big Show. It helps that he's got Ric Flair. It helps that he's got Edge and Christian. He's got real stars to work with. But he's also a real star. And there are no real stars on Monday Night Raw. Drew McIntyre certainly isn't a real star. Randy is the real deal. Randy's been around forever. Randy is a legend in his own right, and he's a future Hall of Famer. Cena's not around anymore. It's Randy's company. And I think it's Randy's title at SummerSlam. I believe WWE should do this. They need to right the ship because I don't think this Drew McIntyre title run is working very well. It's just not interesting. Johnny, Randy Orton, next WWE champion. I know you're down with this because Randy's your favorite. He's like your favorite wrestler ever.
I wouldn't say he's my favorite, but I enjoy him quite a bit. I think he's one of the best wrestlers going today, without question. Mm-hmm. I think he should have been WWE champion a long time ago, actually. Like, I feel that when he was wrestling Kofi, I think around SummerSlam, was it last year? I thought he should have won the title then. I thought there was a great build for that, but for some reason they didn't do it. I feel Randy should always be WWE champion, so this should be no surprise to you whatsoever. I just feel that you're picking Randy because it's the lesser of two evils. Like, I think you hate Drew McIntyre even more.
No, I mean, I look at the landscape of Raw, and who do you really have as a next option past Drew? I really want it to be Kevin Owens, right? I think Kevin Owens, you put the title on him right now, and you change the course of Raw. It's a different show with Kevin Owens as the focal point, but they don't seem very interested in Kevin Owens right now. He was at Raw this week and last week, and they didn't use him. It's a pandemic. You're trying to limit the amount of bodies in a certain area at any given time. You've had coronavirus cases. And you're gonna send for Kevin Owens, have Kevin Owens come to Raw 2 weeks in a row and just have him sit backstage? That shows you they really don't need Kevin Owens. They're not looking for Kevin Owens to be anything at all. He beats Buddy Murphy on the pre-show of Extreme Rules. I don't know what he did. Maybe he decided to stay home because of the coronavirus and it upset some people. I'm not really sure. But yeah, he went home after WrestleMania. He beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. You thought he was destined for bigger things and didn't pan out. He goes home after WrestleMania. Doesn't want to be at work during a pandemic. Comes back. Goes home again when more cases pop up. Comes back.
He was injured too.
He was hurt too? What? Was he hurt after Mania?
He was hurt during Mania, actually.
During the match, he got hurt.
He hurt his ankle, yeah.
Yeah. But he left. So after Mania, he wasn't around because he was hurt, not because he didn't want to be around because of the pandemic?
That's what he says.
Okay. But then when he did come back, he was back for a bit, but then he disappeared for a bit because what? There were new cases?
Well, there was positive cases, I believe, within WWE.
So then he bailed.
Until they put the mask rule into effect.
And then he came back.
Right.
And they haven't used him.
Well, just you saw in the pre-show, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah. Now 2 weeks on Raw, they don't use him. I don't know what that means. Do they really sincerely have nothing for him? Or are they just well, he disappeared on us when we had a few coronavirus cases, so let's not use him because he's not dependable. What's the thinking there? I don't know. I would like to see Kevin Owens as WWE champion if I had my pick. But other than Kevin Owens, you look at who's a real star on Raw. I mean, Seth has just been beat to hell. Seth looks terrible these days. Seth losing to Kevin at Mania and then just getting beat by Drew on the next pay-per-view. Like, they've already eliminated Seth as a contender. And this current Seth, the Monday Night Messiah, the monotone Messiah, whatever he's doing, it's not that good. The whole, take your eye out deal, it's not helping the Seth Rollins character. It's not helping you want to see Seth Rollins. And I also assume it's a matter of time for Seth before he's off TV because Becky's pregnant and he's the father. So you would think he'd be taking time off at some point. So who else is there on Raw? Seth is the man. He's the guy. It's his show. That's how the WWE's built it. Kevin Owens is the guy I really like to see, but it doesn't seem like they're going in that direction. And Randy Orton, I mean, he's a superstar. You look at Randy Orton and the people that he's wrestled. Shawn Michaels, Mick Foley, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Triple H, Batista. All the big names of the business that he's been in the ring with countless times with John Cena, right? Brock Lesnar. He's been there and done that. All those names I mentioned, find me another guy on the roster that's been in the ring with all those guys. You can't, right, John? Like, is there anybody else on the roster who's been in the ring with all the names that I just mentioned? Cactus Jack, Hulk Hogan, and pay-per-view matches, Not just like little things here and there. Who else is still around? Like Big Show from time to time, right? But he's pretty much gone. Like, who's really on the roster? Not like, don't give me like, well, Ric Flair was there. Don't give me that, Who's sincerely on the roster that's done what Randy's done? I don't think there's anybody.
Well, I guess you could somewhat say Daniel Bryan, but even he's not around right now. So
he didn't wrestle Hogan. He didn't wrestle Hogan. What are you talking about? He didn't wrestle Cactus on pay-per-view.
He's had moments with big stars, though. Huge stars.
But,
he's wrestled Randy at WrestleMania.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, but Randy, right? Randy is Randy. Oh,
he's a huge star, though.
That's what I'm saying. There's nobody in the WWE today that has the career, the list of opponents, the list of victories that Randy Orton has. If he wants to go and list off the guys he's defeated, the Legend Killer, he worked Taker at Mania. How many guys on the roster currently have actually worked Taker at Mania? AJ? Who else? That's about it. There's so many guys you see week in and week out. And Taker wrestled so many times at Mania, but there's only a select few that he's been in there with. And Randy Orton is one of them. No one else has done that. So I think it's his time. Like, he's at a point now where it's like, okay, for a while, a lot of guys had been in there with, Shawn Michaels and Triple H and all these guys that I mentioned. He wasn't the only one. But at this point, because he started so young and he stuck around, he's nearly 40 now and he started in his early 20s. At this point, it's like, man, there's nobody else like Randy. He's a unique character right now. He's been through things. He's been around longer than anybody else. He's got that tenure, that seniority. He's still very good in the ring. He's probably better in the ring now than he's ever been. He realizes that he's kind of a leader at this point and that he doesn't have that many years ahead of him. I like this serious Randy. Randy seems to be taking it very seriously now. He had a lot of trouble in his 20s and stuff, but now he seems like he's got his head on straight, and his promos are usually not terrible.
Well, it wasn't terrible this week. He kind of did the promo you're just talking about right now, listing all his accomplishments, what he's done.
Yeah. Randy cut an in-ring promo to start off Raw, talked about his history. He talked about Rock and Austin saying that they can't compare to his accomplishments. And I said, whoa. Take it easy, Randy.
He's kind of right, though.
Well, is he? Steve Austin?
Longevity.
Okay, but like, how about making money for the business?
Yeah, but Randy made a lot of money for himself, though.
Not as much as The Rock's made for himself.
Well, I think The Rock made more money outside the business, though.
Yeah, but he made a lot of money for the wrestling business, and so did Steve Austin. You know, Randy's great and all, but he's no Steve Austin. Randy says he's got to be the WWE champion again, and if he were to compare resumes with Drew McIntyre, it'd be a very short conversation. He's not wrong about that. Who's Drew beat? Dolph Ziggler? I mean, Drew beat Brock Lesnar. And he keeps saying, like, I beat Brock Lesnar. It was really short when I did it. Took me no time at all. I'm Drew McIntyre. That's his claim to fame. He beat Brock. The problem is, so did Seth. Not that long before Drew did.
It happens, you know. Brock's not invincible.
And Drew hasn't done that much else, right? What's he done since? Oh, he beat Seth. He beat the Big Show.
Right.
He beat Dolph Ziggler a couple times. Beat him again on Raw this week.
Bobby Lashley.
There you go. But will he beat Randy at SummerSlam? I like the idea that Drew beat Brock. That's the whole story. That's his whole thing, is that he beat Brock at Mania and he's champion now. Even Randy brought it up and said he respected Drew because he was able to do it. And of course, it was 2 years ago at SummerSlam? 3 years ago? When Brock
Maybe
beat
4.
Was it 4? That long ago? When Brock just destroyed Randy Orton at SummerSlam? Demolished him?
Well, it was right before Brock was going to fight Mark Hunt, right? UFC, so whatever year that was. And that feels like such a long time ago, so. If it wasn't 2016, it was probably 17.
Wow, I think you're right. I think it might have been 2016. 4 years ago?
It's been a while since Brock fought.
Yeah.
Like MMA fight.
Yeah. I think he's pretty much done with that at this point. Although you never know. Yeah, 2016 SummerSlam, Brock and Randy. But Randy, you know, it's memorable. It feels like it wasn't that long ago. You know, it feels like it was only a year or two ago because it was such a memorable match between Brock and Randy. And Randy took a very memorable beating. And that was the last time that Brock and Randy ever faced each other. And there was a lot of history between Brock and Randy. A lot of the names that Randy's been in the ring with, Brock has also been in the ring with. They came up at the same time in OVW. And for Drew McIntyre to be the guy to have beaten Brock, and then Randy at SummerSlam 4 years later to beat the guy that beat Brock, to be WWE champion, it's not a bad story. I like it. I think they should do it.
The thing about this, though, I imagine, like, say, you know, whoever wins this match, they're going to do this match at least 2 or 3 other times. Like, they love rematches like crazy, so we're definitely going to get this for the next couple pay-per-views, I think. Maybe the next couple of Raws afterwards.
Okay. And what do you see happening?
I think Randy, at least at one point, will be WWE champion. I hope he just stays WWE champion. I hope they don't keep, like, switching the belt back and forth. I think that's kind of crummy when they do that. I think they want to make Randy champion. I just don't think they want to make him champion right away because Edge is out for such a long time.
So why not give him the belt at SummerSlam, have him hold it until Edge can come back, and then make Edge champion?
I'm sure that's ideal, but it's probably next WrestleMania, right, when Edge comes back, if they're lucky even, because, like, torn tricep, that doesn't heal right away.
So Randy gets it at SummerSlam. He gets it in August, holds it September, October, November, December, January. It's a long-ass run for Randy. It's a very long run. January, February, March.
Lose it, win it back.
Yeah, lose it, win it back to somebody.
Did it Daniel Bryan.
What do you mean?
He, I believe, cashed in on Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam, and then I think lost to Daniel Bryan, but then won it back, I think, in a Hell in a Cell. Went all the way to Mania with it.
Was that when he wrestled Triple H?
I think this is like 2013, 14 probably. No, I think he had Triple H in his like back pocket kind of thing.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
He had Shawn too.
So what was his match at Mania that year?
That's when he wrestled Batista and Bryan.
Oh, okay, okay. Right. That was the whole Bryan thing. That feels like a whole long time ago, man. Daniel Bryan on top of the wrestling business. It feels like a really long time ago. I think Randy should do it here at SummerSlam. I think they're going in that direction because the ratings on Raw are not good. The show is not good. Drew McIntyre is the champion. He's the top guy on the show. I think the lack of crowds is hurting him, but it's just not entertaining when he's in there. When he's talking, it's like the same old thing. It's just like a lot of threats about kicking you with the thing, the kick, and
Claymore.
Yeah, it's just, there's just not much there. And then the match is like, I don't know, man. I have trouble sitting through them. Are you entertained by Drew McIntyre?
I didn't mind the match with Dolph this week, the Extreme Rules match. I actually thought it was better than the pay-per-view match, actually.
Okay, but that's not saying much, right?
It's not.
Don't you think it's time for a change? Like, enough is enough here, right?
If I had to choose Drew McIntyre or Randy Orton as WWE champion, I'd definitely go with Randy Orton any day of the week, for sure. And I'm sure they're thinking the same way too, but is now the time is the question.
It's a good move to right the ship, you know? The ship is not going in the right direction. You got to change things up. You got to go with something that's reliable, that's dependable. Something that's been there for years, that's always worked, that's always been successful. That's Randy Orton. If Cena was around, they'd give the title to Cena at this point, right? Whenever things were kind of like, this isn't so good, what do we do? Let's just give it back to Cena. That's how Cena won all those titles, right? They kind of ran out of ideas, and they're like, this isn't working with this guy. Maybe let's just give it back to Cena. Because Cena is like dependable, and he's reliable, and it's like, it's not going to set the world on fire, but we know that it's good and solid, and it works better than anything else we have right now. But Cena's not around. Randy's always been the next best thing to John Cena. That's the story of his whole career. And Cena has left the WWE, so all we're left with is Randy. You know I'm right, too. Randy would hate hearing that. Randy would be so mad if he heard this. Randy would be so mad. The next best thing to Cena, he's again. He'd be so pissed. And Cena just laugh, you know? Cena be laughing. Cena knows I'm right. And Vince would be laughing, too, because Vince knows I'm right, too. Triple H, everybody knows I'm right. Even you, Johnny. Even you hate John Cena. You love Randy Orton. But you know I'm right. Randy's, he's been like the second Cena.
Well, John Cena even admits it himself that Randy Orton's like the best wrestler right now. And in a sense, like he's better than John Cena because he's still going in a sense. John Cena could still be going because what's John Cena doing right now? Absolutely nothing.
Making money. Making movies. What are you talking about? Randy couldn't do that because Randy's not a good actor.
What's Cena filming right now? His movie got delayed to next year.
I don't know. Cena, Cena's a different story. Cena's too big. Cena doesn't have time. It's Randy's time, though, and I'm glad that Randy is now able to be the top star and get out from the shadow of all those other guys that were around him for so long. He was always in Triple H's shadow. He was always in John Cena's shadow, but those guys are gone now. Nobody else has been there. Like, there were always guys that kind of had a little seniority on him or a little bit higher up on the card or a little bit more pushed or slightly bigger stars Taker was around, Cena was around, Triple H was around, when Shawn was around. Randy was a star, but he wasn't like the man. He couldn't walk around and be like, I'm the guy. But now, Mustafa Ali's on the show. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Humberto Carrillo is around. Like, who are these guys? Randy walks around. He's like, come on.
He's without question the top star on Raw. I don't think there's any question about that. The thing is, though, is he's going to have the best matches, though. I mean, Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Are you excited for that match? I don't think it's going to be the best match of SummerSlam.
No. I don't think it would be good at all. But, like, it's a necessary evil to get to where we need to be. I don't think Randy's the best wrestler on Raw. He's just the biggest star. He's not the best. He's just, he's Randy. Like, if I really had my way, I'd be like, shit, just give it to Rey Mysterio, man. Rey Mysterio's the best.
Is he still under contract? Like, is he going to come back? Like, who knows what's going on with Rey? I mean, I hope so.
His son got beat up on Raw. Seth Rollins did one of his long, droning promos, and then Dominic showed up, and Seth's like, come into the ring. And then stupid Dominic's like, okay. And then he tries to fight Seth and Buddy Murphy at the same time. And, of course, he gets beat up. Like, what are you thinking, Dominic? Aleister Black shows up, tries to help him, also gets beat up. And then they ram Aleister Black's eye into the ring steps. Does Aleister Black have one eye now? Like, is he going to sell it with an eye patch for the next month? What's the story there? He better. Like, Ray was gone for weeks. They had a match. They had a eye for an eye match. Now, Aleister Black has the same thing done to him. Like, he can't show up on Raw, like, fine on Monday, right?
No, I don't think so. I think Aleister will be out for a couple of weeks. I mean, who knows if it's an injury maybe that they're doing this for, or they're just going to repackage him perhaps. But, yeah, I think he's going to be gone for a while, unfortunately.
Well, unfortunately?
I like Aleister Black. I think he's one of the best wrestlers they have on Raw.
Yeah, but, like, what is it? Like, what's happening there? What's his gimmick exactly? What is he doing? He's directionless. Like, it's not his fault. He's very talented in the ring. His promos have not been good. I don't think there's ever been a time when Aleister Black picked up a microphone and I was like, yes. Every time he talks, I'm like, ugh. Shut up, man. It's better when he doesn't talk and he just looks scary and then he wrestles like a badass. It's enough for me. I'm good with that. The promos ruin a lot of people. Aleister Black, like, is not great at talking. He's not particularly interesting. And, like, when he does that menacing talk, it just comes off weird. And, like, no one's scared of that kind of talk. It's just bad.
I won't disagree with that, but in the ring, I think he's one of the best to watch.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah, he's very good. He's very good. Andrade and Angel Garza are very good in the ring. So are Cedric Alexander and Ricochet and the Viking Raiders. Yet, it was a triple threat tag team match to earn a shot at the Street Profits at SummerSlam, and I just didn't really care. Andrade and Angel Garza wind up winning, so they will wrestle the Street Profits for the Raw Tag Team titles at SummerSlam, just in case anyone cared. Nia Jax. I like the Nia Jax promo. Randy comes out and he's like, I want to be WWE champion. I want Drew McIntyre at SummerSlam. Then Nia Jax shows up and she's like, I like what Randy was saying. It's a good idea. I want to be Raw Women's Champion. Like, Randy Orton needed to come out for you to, like, get the bright idea that you might want to be the champion in your division. Randy had to give you that idea, Nia Jax. And then Nia starts talking about Charlotte Flair for some reason. She's like, I got a title shot, and then Charlotte Flair screwed me out of my title shot, and then I beat up Charlotte Flair, and has anybody seen Charlotte since? And everybody's like, no, we haven't. Where's Charlotte? And then no one explains where Charlotte is. So that was weird. And then Nia's like, I want the winner of Asuka and Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's title. And then Shayna Baszler shows up, and she's like, no one gives a damn what you want, Nia Jax. And I was like, yeah. So I guess Shayna's a babyface now? And then Nia punches Shayna, and then they brawled a bit, and then the refs came out. And then they actually set up a match between these two a couple segments later, which was weird. Like, Nia did her promo, started brawling with Shayna, and then they go to commercial, and you figure you come back from commercial, Nia versus Shayna. But no, they have a Street Profits promo talking about SummerSlam. They introduce all the opponents in this there's a three-way tag team match, and it takes way too long to do the introductions, and it's terrible. And then they have this match, Andrade and Angel win against those guys. And then they have Nia and Shayna. Like, the pacing was really weird to Raw. It was strange. Strange placement of that match. And it wasn't even a match. So they have like a pull-apart brawl during the promo. That's separated by a tag team thing for no reason. And then they start the match, and it immediately goes out of the ring to a double countout. Like, immediately. It's not a match. And then some guy gets between them. I'm not sure who the guy was. Probably some NXT trainee guy in a suit, right? And, like, Nia pushes him into Shayna, and then Shayna falls out of the ring, and then Nia, like, beats up the guy. And that was the segment. What?
And off that, apparently, Nia got fined, apparently.
Yeah, gimmick fine, not real fine.
But that was the whole payoff to that, was just that she gets a fine off that. So, like...
What the shit?
That's it?
What the fuck, man? What the fuck is this? Like,
well, it's going to get worse. Don't worry.
I know. Shayna's a babyface. Shayna Nia, honestly, could be good. I thought Nia and Ronda was really good. Nia's good when she's in there with somebody that could be really rough. Like, Nia's good when she's in there with somebody that could legit whoop her ass. Because Nia gets really aggressive, which is good. You know, Nia can't get super aggressive wrestling, some of these other lady wrestlers that they have. But when Nia's in there with somebody like Shayna or Ronda Rousey, you can get aggressive as you want. See what happens. So I like the matchup. I think the match could be really good. I'm actually looking forward to it. When they had it on Raw, I was like, here we go. This is going to be good. And we got nothing. So hopefully we do see this match. And I'm telling you, not many people might be excited for this one, but I am. I'm like, yeah, this is probably going to be solid wrestling. Violence.
Well, I find when Nia comes out, she's like a deer in headlights, like doesn't really know how to act, just goes out there, does her thing. But when Shayna comes out, it's kind of like, well, this is business, you have to get ready. So it kind of forces Nia to be like, okay, now I'm in a fight. So that's what kind of makes the match interesting, is that Nia actually has to be physical, because if she isn't, she's just going to get dominated, and she doesn't like that. So, yeah, it feels like it turns into somewhat of a real fight. So that was fun. But the stupid, like, no finish stuff that they keep doing kind of ruins all their matches.
Yeah. And it makes you not want to watch, because it's like, well, what's the point of this? I know I'm not going to get a payoff. There's going to be a bunch of wrestling that'll be okay, not pay-per-view level, just kind of TV level with no crowd, which is, not great. And then they're not even going to pay it off with a finish to advance the story. So it's really hard to watch when you do that. When the wrestling isn't particularly great, it's passable, but, like, there's no finish and nothing really happens. It's tough to watch. Sasha versus Bayley. Sasha versus Asuka.
People want Sasha versus Bayley. They're not getting that.
No. I don't want that yet. Not yet. You got to give that time. Sasha and Bayley do a promo. That was good. And then Sasha Asuka for the Raw Women's title. The vacant Raw Women's title.
The DQ count and everything match.
Yeah, right? So if you lost by count out or disqualification, you could lose the title match because no one's the champion. even though Asuka should still be the champion based off what happened at Extreme Rules when Asuka accidentally sprayed green mist in the ref's eyes. Bayley hit Asuka with a foreign object, took the ref's shirt, put it on, counted to 3, crowned Sasha the new champion somehow, and then the next night Stephanie McMahon was like, yeah, it's a vacant title. I was like, well, Asuka should have either lost by DQ or won by DQ. Either way, she should still be champion, but whatever. And now we have Sasha versus Asuka for the vacant Raw Women's title, which ends by count out after Bayley and Kairi Sane go backstage. Bayley, I guess, got the advantage. For some reason, the camera crew decided to put Bayley beating up Kairi Sane on the Tron. Like, why did the production team decide to cut to the beatdown backstage on the big video screen so Asuka would see? Why did they cut at that point when Bayley, like, it makes no sense. Bayley and Kairi run backstage during the match. They're backstage for a while. At a certain point, the screen in the little arena they have there shows Bayley and Kairi, and Bayley's just beating the hell out of Kairi. Asuka's like, oh no, and runs away from her title match, knowing the rules, to go save her friend Kairi Sane.
Can we also talk about how it's ridiculous you could change the title like on a DQ or a count out? Like, I understand making it like a no DQ match because like you're worried about interference. Well, now you don't have to worry about anything. Anything goes. We need a winner no matter what. But to have the title change on a count out or a DQ is kind of ridiculous.
I think they're trying to protect Asuka.
Yeah, but there's other ways of doing that. Like, you don't have to ruin the idea of a wrestling match.
Well, it's a vacant title, right? So, look, I don't disagree with you. This was bad. And, like, okay, give me those rules. Okay, I'm fine with that. But for Asuka to be so stupid, like the Asuka character is so dumb, or cares so little about the title, either way, it's not good. Either she doesn't give a shit about the title, which is like, why is she fighting for? Why are we watching any of this if Asuka doesn't really care about winning the title? Or she's so dumb, or like she's such a good friend to Kairi Sane that she doesn't care, like, she doesn't care about the title? Really? She sees Kairi Sane, and it's not even like a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1 beatdown. It's just Bayley. It's just Bayley. Like, okay, Kairi's losing the fight right now, but what if Kairi comes back in the fight? Asuka really has no faith in Kairi Sane regaining the momentum in this fight, this fair fight against Bayley. She has to go save her to allow Sasha Banks to win. Like, she goes, she knows the match is over. She's not the champion. She is giving that title to Sasha to go stop Bayley from attacking Kairi Sane. It doesn't make sense.
Well, it was all done in vain because she lost the title and she lost her friend. Like, she lost everything. So it was absolutely the worst idea to do, but oh well.
Because Kairi Sane is what? Leaving the WWE now? Her contract is up and she's gone? Or are they writing her off? Are they writing her off from that beatdown? Like Bayley beat her up and Kairi's gone? What's the story?
Well, I guess people could take it like that. It was such a horrible beatdown that she could never come back. Or some people just say it like, she's decided to leave and, they wish her the best. And that was it.
Yeah. Huh.
Whatever story you like to digest, Yeah. It doesn't matter.
I guess it doesn't matter. That's how they look at it, right? It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Because they give us this nonsense, this weirdo finish. They protect Asuka, though, and Sasha is now the Raw Women's Champion officially. It's like official. And then on Raw, on SmackDown, Bayley beats Nikki Cross, beats her clean. No cheating, no interference. I mean, a little bit from Sasha, but Alexa stopped her. It was a clean win for Bayley. Bayley defends the title against Nikki Cross in the main event of SmackDown.
Again.
Again. That's right, because she's the best. And they have all the gold. They're the women's tag team champions. Sasha's the Raw champion. Bayley's the SmackDown champion. And they truly are the best thing going in the WWE today. Promos, match-wise. You know, the match with Nikki Cross I thought was solid. I liked it.
I think AJ's the best thing going, but...
yeah, he's good too. But, come on. You got to give it to Sasha and Bayley. They're doing a hell of a job right now. And the Nikki Cross-Bayley match was good. It was definitely better than King Corbin and Drew Gulak.
It was, but that was interesting, though, because to see what happened with Gable, like, I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah. Meh. Whatever. The King's Ransom. I want to get to what happened, though, after the Bayley match with Nikki Cross. So, Alexa Bliss is in the ring with Nikki Cross, and she's like, you did a good job, it's okay. And Nikki's really mad that she lost, and she's like, I don't want to hear it, Alexa Bliss, and pushes down Alexa and walks away. So then you think, okay, well, it's a weird end to SmackDown, but that's all right. And I guess Nikki Cross, you think Nikki's turning heel?
Well, I thought they were breaking up, and maybe they did break up, but who knows now, right? Because it looks like Alexa's going a different direction anyways.
So then the lights go out, and the Fiend appears after Alexa Bliss. She's sitting in the ring. She got pushed down by her best friend, Nikki Cross. The Fiend appears. Alexa Bliss looks terrified. She did a really good job selling this, by the way. Like, she sold this. The facial expressions on Alexa Bliss, just perfect. She looked like, you know, if this was a horror movie, she could definitely be like the scared person in the horror movie, right? Like, she was good.
It dies in the first 2 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Well, who knows about the dialogue part, but the facial expressions were really good. And I think she could do the dialogue. I think Alexa Bliss could be like an actor in some way. So, anyways. Alexa...
WWE movies, they could all be it if you look at those movies.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about like for real, like Batista style, you know? Anyways, Alexa Bliss is in there, and the Fiend shows up, and you're like, okay, he's just going to scare her, right? He's not going to... What's he going to do? And then he, like, stands over her, and then he kneels down, and he raises his hand back, and you're like, what the hell? And he puts it in the mandible claw position, and then he slowly brings it down, and then when he gets about halfway between, like, his up position and Alexa Bliss, he, like, speeds up, and he goes, whoop, like, right into her mouth with the mandible claw, applies it on her, lets her go, and that's how SmackDown ends, with Alexa Bliss, like, prone down after taking the mandible claw from the Fiend. I watched it, and I said, I was watching this by myself, and I was like, holy shit. I said, holy shit. Sitting there watching this show. When he did that, I was like, holy shit. That's fucking crazy. Like, what? He put the mandible claw on Alexa Bliss, and this is because the Bray Wyatt man started the show in the Firefly Funhouse, and he said Braun Strowman is still stuck in the swamp from the swamp fight, and the Fiend wants the Universal title, and until he gets what he wants, no one is safe. And I thought, okay, he's going to attack, like, you know, The Miz or something, or he'll attack a Jeff Hardy or one of those guys, and that'll be that. I didn't think he'd attack Alexa Bliss. And, of course, Braun Strowman loves Alexa Bliss, which is kind of weird. The Braun Strowman Alexa Bliss deal. Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss. Well, what? They were a tag team? Right? They were a tag team. Braun seems to have like a crush on Alexa Bliss. They had that weird thing in the swamp fight where Braun had a I don't know, hallucination, a vision, hallucination of Alexa Bliss telling him, like, come to me. I know you always wanted us to be together. And Braun's like, yes, this is what I want. All zombie style. Is really weird. So I guess we're to understand that Braun Strowman is, like, in love with Alexa Bliss. But Alexa Bliss, like, if you follow her on, like, Twitter or Instagram, you know she's, like, dating this guy who, like, was a singer and dated a bunch of, like, pop stars at one point in, like, the early 2000s. Ryan something. I forget what his name is.
Too, at one point, no?
Yeah, she was with Buddy Murphy, but now she's, like, dating some guy, and she's, like, public with it. I saw him. He's like a D-list celebrity. I forget what his name is. I think he was dating somebody from The Hills. I think he was dating Jessica Simpson's sister at one point. So you see the kind of, level I'm talking about. See where this guy's at. Yeah. And now he's dating Alexa Bliss. So, good for them. She seems happy. I see her post on, like, Twitter. And, yeah. So, like, that's out there. So then Braun Strowman on TV is like, Alexa Bliss. But, like, in real life, she has a boyfriend, and she seems quite happy. So it's a little weird. It's a little bit of a weird story. And they're taking it even further now with the Fiend attacking Alexa Bliss because of her relationship with Braun Strowman. I don't know what kind of relationship they really have. Braun Strowman's in love with Alexa Bliss. Alexa has a boyfriend. And because of this, the Fiend attacks Alexa Bliss? I don't know, man. Doesn't seem right. Seems a bit awful, really.
For the most part, they just say that they're friends. Like, maybe Braun wants something more, but for the most part, they're just friends. So,
well, he obviously does. No, maybe. There's no maybe so. Braun wants something more, right? That was clear in the Swamp Fight. She's like, I know you always wanted us to be together, and that was like Alexa in Braun's mind, and Braun is like, yes, So clearly he wants to be with Alexa Bliss. That is the Braun Strowman character. I think he also has a girlfriend or a fiance or something, They're both, it's not real life. It's Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss. It's not the real people. It's not their real names. So I get it. It's his character. But it's a bit weird. And then the Fiend attacking Alexa Bliss was like, whoa. You do not see man-on-woman violence on WWE television. Maybe at, like, WrestleMania, but, like, very rarely do you see that kind of stuff. Maybe an odd pay-per-view here or there, but I can't remember the last time anything close to this has gone on. A male wrestler applying his finishing hold on a female talent.
Well, Randy hit the RKO on Nia when she was in the Royal Rumble. Remember?
See, the odd pay-per-view here or there. It'll happen, right?
So, well, that's it. I think if they do it every now and then, it's kind of okay, like. And this, I mean, it was just a mandible claw. It's not like he punched her in the face or anything. You're not going to see something like that.
Yeah. No, it was, I don't know. It was shocking, right? It wasn't, it wasn't particularly violent as far as, it wasn't a power bomb through a table.
However,
he was forcibly sticking his hand in a woman's mouth to close out a show on Fox at 10 p.m. on a Friday night.
So he covered, though. It's mandible claw is a covered thing, though. It's not his actual fingers.
So he's wearing a glove, so that's okay? During a pandemic, too, by the way.
Protection. It's good.
Yeah, it was, definitely an assault, maybe even a sexual assault, if you want to go even further. It was shocking. I don't think that they should do it a lot. It definitely added heat to the storyline. I'm not sure that's how you want to build your heat, though. I don't think it was a good idea. It was like a shocking moment. I can't say I wasn't entertained. I was definitely like, whoa. But if you think about the message and you think about what they're doing here, really, the more you break it down, the more it doesn't sit right.
You got to push the envelope every now and then, though. I mean, and for them, this is like very tame from what they used to do. So they have to at least try to see like what they can get off this. And what else can you do when Braun's not there? You have his only friend, which is a female, and then you have his enemy that's there. What can you do with them? Well, let's try to push it as far as we can. So that's what they came up with. I was okay with it. I wasn't expecting that whatsoever. And now I'm like, wow, what's going to happen next week? For me, that worked.
Where's Braun?
Oh, he's still stuck in the swamp, right? He may have been eaten or something, so we don't know yet.
He's still selling that swamp job. Okay, AJ Styles beat Grand Metalik with a calf crusher to retain the Intercontinental Championship. He then beat up Lince Dorado for good measure, hitting the Styles Clash on him. Very good match. I thought that was solid stuff.
Well, it's just the right kind of match for AJ. It's like he made Metalik look good, but not too good. It was the perfect kind of match. Just I thought it shouldn't have been the start of SmackDown. I think AJ is too good for that, but I mean, he wasn't going to be the main event, so what were you going to do?
He's wrestling Grand Metalik. You don't really expect Metalik to get the win. It's not necessarily a main event level match, but it was very good. But I think Nikki Cross and Bayley made sense to close out the show there, especially considering what happened afterwards with Alexa Bliss that kind of was set up by that Nikki Cross-Bayley deal. King Corbin has a bounty on Matt Riddle's head. He is calling it the King's Ransom, and it is for anyone in WWE willing to beat up Matt Riddle for him because Matt Riddle has beaten him up and embarrassed him, and now he needs to pay somebody. Apparently, King Corbin is very rich, and he's going to give money to someone on the WWE roster because apparently King Corbin is making so much more money than Chad Gable that he's got money to give him to beat up another WWE wrestler. Which, like, what? How much do you get for winning King of the Ring? Like $1 billion? Like, what? Anyways, I don't understand how he has a king's ransom. I don't understand how come you're doing bounties now on guys' heads. King Corbin had a match with Drew Gulak. He won. King Corbin did, anyways. Not Gulak, obviously. Matt Riddle tried to distract Corbin. It didn't work. Riddle attacked Corbin after the match, but was taken out by Chad Gable, Shorty G. He was a babyface. He was an opponent of King Corbin's, but now they are friends, and now he is his mercenary, and he beat up Matt Riddle. I think the Riddle Shorty G match will be good. The Riddle-Corbin rematch is not something I'm looking forward to.
Well, sadly, that's probably the match you're going to get at SummerSlam. Not Gable versus Riddle, but probably Riddle versus Corbin. So,
yeah,
too bad. That's what you're getting.
Well, we'll get Riddle Gable on SmackDown, maybe even next week.
Yeah, maybe at some point. Yeah, sure. I could see a tag match possibly even too.
I'll tell you what I want to see at SummerSlam. Hair versus hair. Brother, that would bring them in. That would get people watching and get people talking. Mandy Rose and Otis are backstage. Mandy and Otis have a big date plan. They're going to Otis's favorite rib joint. They're going to eat ribs and steaks. And then Mandy says she may even have a peach sundae for Otis for dessert, which you know what that means because Otis calls Mandy his peach. You know what I'm saying? Hey. Sonya Deville is in the shadows, and she hears this whole thing, and then she comes out of the shadows looking all mad after they talk about their date, which was really weird. I thought Otis and Mandy were supposed to have a love celebration or something this week on SmackDown. Whatever happened to that? What about the live sex celebration that I was asking for last week?
Well, they've been off SmackDown for a very long time. This is the first time I've seen them in quite a while, so the fact that we're seeing them again, I guess they're okay now, whatever happens. So, by the way, Mandy, I believe, also has like a boyfriend, fiance, but this angle still keeps going.
Yeah, it's fine. It's wrestling, right? It's not real. It's just a little bit weird with the Braun Strowman thing because he seems into Alexa Bliss, but Alexa, like even the Alexa Bliss character, doesn't seem into Braun Strowman in that way. You know, it seems like it's just one way with Braun Strowman, which is like, okay, give it up, Braun. Like, she's not into you. At least with Sonya and Otis, they seem into each other, right? Like, don't you get the impression?
Mandy
Mandy and Otis. But don't you get the impression like Alexa's not that into Braun Strowman, but Braun Strowman's like really into Alexa, as far as how they've presented their relationship, the dynamic there?
Yeah, but that's why I think it works though. Is like you think Braun's like, oh yeah, this could work out, and Alexa's like, yeah, this is not going to work out whatsoever. But that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, okay, but at a certain point, you're just a creepy guy, and you need to give it up. Okay, that's a lesson for everybody out there in the universe. Okay, you got to give it up. If she says no, she's not into you, you say okay, I'll see you later. But that's not what Braun's doing. He's still fantasizing about her in a swamp. Fucking swamp.
Life or death situation too.
Uh-huh. So Mandy got attacked by Sonya. Sonya put lipstick all over Mandy's face. It looked like blood, but it wasn't. It was just lipstick, red lipstick. And then Sonya started cutting Mandy's hair and whooping that ass. Left her laying. And then Sonya...
Didn't Mandy lose her top a bit?
I don't know. Maybe a strap came down on the tank top deal, but like...
You could tell like she was trying to like hold it. Like, you didn't notice that? I noticed that.
Take it easy over there. You've been locked up by yourself in your apartment for too long, Big Johnny. Take it easy. I didn't notice. That's not what I'm looking at. Sonya grabbed the buzzer, and she grabbed this big clunky buzzer, and it just looked ugly. It didn't look like a nice lawnmower 3.0 that you would get from Manscaped. And you could get yourself a lawnmower 3.0 and clean yourself up, look nice and tidy for your peach by going to manscaped.com and using that promo code Ringside20. Use the promo code Ringside20 and get 20% off plus free shipping on your Manscaped order. That's manscaped.com, promo code Ringside20. The Lawnmower 3.0 is now available in Canada. Johnny's using it. He's by himself. He's at home, but he's still using it because you never know when the next opportunity is going to come a-knocking, okay? Always be ready. Always be fresh. Always keep your balls fresh and clean and neat and tidy and smelling good. Get yourself some ball deodorant. Manscaped takes care of your balls. Hook yourself up. Go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code Ringside20. 20% off plus free shipping when you use that promo code. Support yourself, support your balls, and support the Ringside Report Network all at the same time. Manscaped.com. Sonya needed that to have a better clipper because her clipper was ugly, and the referees, they were quick to stop her. I thought she was going to shave Mandy's hair. She just, she cut the hair, and then she was going for the buzzer to shave her bald. When I see that in wrestling, there's only one thing that comes to mind. There's only one way to settle this. Hair versus hair. And when it's two women, it's like higher stakes. So, give it to me. And put Sonya over, too. Have Mandy lose her hair. I think that'd be awesome.
We've seen this before. I think it was WrestleMania 20, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it was Molly Holly against Victoria, I think.
Yeah, I know.
Molly Holly got...
Yeah. Well, we all know
Yeah.
Molly Holly had that bald look for a long time. It's like, I wonder who won that. I don't remember seeing Victoria bald, so yeah. I don't remember, that's the thing. I don't remember how Molly Holly lost her hair, but I do know that Molly Holly lost a hair match at some point, right? And I know that, what's her name? Serena Deeb did not lose a hair match. She just got her head shaved by CM Punk.
The straight edge society thing, yeah.
That's right. Those are the only two bald women that I can remember in the WWE. Anybody else?
Not that I can remember off the top of my head, no.
I think Mandy would look good bald.
I think it's going to be Sonya, though.
I think Mandy would pull it off better. I think it'd be a good look for her.
I think they like Mandy with her look the way she is. I think with Sonya, they want to make her even more kick ass. And I think she'd look even cooler bald.
That's a big ask, because
Big push,
you're not just bald on TV, you're bald all the time. They better give you a big push. They better give you something, especially for a woman, man. You ask a woman to shave her hair, it's a serious business. But
that
I
push is huge, man.
Yeah, well, I want to see it. I want to see it, man. Hair versus hair is where we got to go. SummerSlam, Mandy, Sonya. Convince one of them to get their head shaved. I think Mandy, because you kind of expect it to be Sonya, right? You don't expect it to be Mandy. Could you imagine if they shaved Mandy's hair on SummerSlam? You want to talk shocking? Holy shit. That would be fucking crazy. People would lose it. Mandy Rose, all pretty with the blonde hair and everything. Like Sonya, yeah, sure, but she's got that mean, tough attitude already. The bald head would kind of, But Mandy Rose, shave her head. She looked like Amber Rose. You know who that is?
The name rings a bell, but I can't put a name or face to the name, though.
See, Mandy Rose is somebody. Amber Rose is somebody else. Okay, hold on. Let me show you a picture of Amber Rose so you know who I'm talking about. And she has a shaved blonde head. And she looks very good with it. And I think Mandy could do that as well. And I think she could pull it off. Okay, I've got a picture of... Do I have it here? Is this working? Oh, that didn't work. I don't know. Maybe it's not working. Damn. I'm having a technical glitch here, John. I don't know why that is.
I'll take your word for it. Don't worry.
Yeah, well... Shit. Try to do something here. Try to do something technical, and it just fucking fucks up on me. I don't know why. That's weird. Doesn't usually fuck up like that. Well, I'll get the team on that. Anyways, Amber Rose, bald-headed, blonde hair, looks really good. She's a model. I think Mandy Rose would pull it off and look really good as well, and it would shock a lot of people if they shaved her head at SummerSlam. So do it, okay? Just do it. You know what else you have to do? You have to go to Stitcher and sign up for Stitcher Premium. Go to Stitcher.com/premium. Use that promo code Ringside for a free month. Stitcher has so many podcasts. They've got Wrestling Uncensored. They've got Ringside Report MMA. And they have so much, and they're offering you a special offer on their premium service as part of their sponsorship of the Ringside Report Network and Wrestling Uncensored. Now, besides all of our shows, there are over 100,000 podcasts on your iPhone, Android, tablet, PC, Amazon Echo, all available on Stitcher Premium. There are Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, comedy albums, and more. $4.99 a month, $34.99 a year when you go to Stitcher.com/premium and use that promo code Ringside for a free month of the service. Support your ears, get some good entertainment, and support the Ringside Report Network at the very same time. Naomi getting the win on Lacey Evans this week. The big Naomi push has begun. I predict Naomi versus Bayley at SummerSlam for the Smackdown title. Okay?
Well, it's interesting because, who else at this point, really, when you think about it? There really is nobody else.
Unless they defend the tag titles at SummerSlam, which, against who?
I mean, it really seems like it's going to be Asuka versus Sasha again, right?
Yeah. So, Bayley Naomi, it makes a lot of sense at SummerSlam, which is just 3 weeks away now, August the 23rd. And, of course, the WWE going to be doing SummerSlam at the Performance Center. There's talk now of the Royal Rumble happening, maybe at the Performance Center. The WWE was looking for locations. They're still trying to find locations, maybe outdoors where they can have some people. They're trying to figure out a way where they can have fans as soon as possible, but it doesn't seem possible. To me, it doesn't look possible at all in the United States. They're not letting that happen anytime soon because of the way the coronavirus is being handled right now. It's not being handled very well. The outbreak in the States is worse than it is in a lot of other countries. And I look at it as a Canadian, seeing where we are and where they are, and it's sad. It's disappointing that we're able to come so far with this thing, and we're still not out of the woods, obviously, but compared to the States, I think we're many steps ahead. So I fear for everybody out there, and I hope that we can get back to normal as soon as possible and bring fans back into the arenas. But I'm starting to think about the future, and I'm starting to think about, okay, well, if the WWE wants to have shows with fans, what can they really do? And maybe leaving the country is the best thing to do. Japan has fans. New Japan Pro Wrestling is in business. They have fans at a third of the capacity in arenas, ticket buyers. And that's only going to be increasing. You got to figure by January, Royal Rumble time, end of January, you could have a maybe filled or half-filled Tokyo Dome for a Royal Rumble, 20,000 people. It's a 40,000 seat arena. You could put 20,000 people in there easy. And then you have a show in front of 20,000 people, 20,000 hardcore wrestling fans that get to see a Royal Rumble for the first time ever, and you get to have it from a famous arena in Tokyo, Japan, with an audience. That would be a big deal for the Royal Rumble. If you do the Royal Rumble from the Performance Center, if by January we're still doing pay-per-views from the Performance Center, I mean, we're talking about a year in here. We're talking about a year of pay-per-views from the Performance Center. Are we really going to have another WrestleMania at the Performance Center? These are things you have to start thinking about. Because big arenas, big stadiums in the United States, nope. You got to look elsewhere. You got to look outside of the U.S. And, of course, it's going to depend on travel restrictions, where we are with the virus at that point in time. But if I were the WWE, I would start to look at other places to go. Go to Saudi Arabia. Do the Rumble there. Come to Canada. I got to figure by January we'll be able to have maybe a third of the capacity in arenas.
I don't know, but we still don't have wrestling here, period. So I don't know about that.
You're right. But, I mean, we're opening up more and more here, right, in Canada, in Quebec. I mean, Canada, Canada's one thing, but every province is kind of like its own case and its own, we have our own issues. Quebec has been the worst hit of all the provinces in the whole country, so we're still struggling, but there are things that are being done. There are more and more groupings, and we're getting to a point where we can allow more people indoors. It's not to a point where you can have a full arena, but I think maybe by January we'll have crowds of a certain size with distancing and precautions. Hopefully. But shit, man, I thought by August we'd have that. I thought when this started in March, I was like, by SummerSlam, we'll be good, right? How long can this really last? Shit. Not been good at predicting this thing, so what the fuck do I know? I'm no doctor.
Well, Vince stated himself that Saudi Arabia isn't going to happen this year, so I don't think WWE is going to travel whatsoever because they make the most money off those shows. So if they can't do those shows, they ain't going anywhere. Like, we're pretty much just going to be stuck with this Performance Center stuff. And the fact that they added another pay-per-view in August, I think they're just going to run home this whole Performance Center idea like crazy now.
I thought Vince said that it was still possible for Saudi Arabia this year. That's what I read.
He changed it now. He did the conference call today, or the other day. It doesn't think it's going to happen now.
That's a lot of money that's not going to come in. But
now he's putting all these extra pay-per-views now.
What about Japan?
Well, they already aren't big in Japan already, right? So they're not going to bring their whole roster there.
Come on, man. You don't think people in Japan would be hyped for the Royal Rumble? They know what that is. They're wrestling fans. They would get it. They do all right in Japan. You do 20,000? I mean, you don't think it's worth it to go just to have an arena with real fans? a real arena with real fans for the Royal Rumble. Like, if you could get it, if you could travel, if you could do it safely, hell yeah, I would go to Japan and do the Rumble. 100%. Japan, England, Canada, somewhere other than the States, because I think maybe not the Rumble, maybe not WrestleMania, maybe not whatever, but look at where we are right now. What countries are going to be first to have people in attendance? Right? What countries are going to be first? And right now, Japan is, they're way ahead of us. They have people there, right? Is Canada going to be ahead of the States? As far as, like, are we going to get fans in arenas before they do? I think so. Safely, anyways. I think so. England, I think there are countries around the world that are probably going to be ahead of the States as far as where they are in getting people back into arenas. But who knows? I mean, there's going to be a presidential election in 3 months, right? So everything could change. Who knows? Who knows what might happen with that country? I love you guys in America. I love all our American viewers, all our American listeners. And I hope you guys are doing all right, Tough times in America.
Yeah, I hope they're doing okay. But the good thing is we know that Vince will do his best to try to get some sort of show going. Like, apparently he wants to do something on a boat. So he's looking at all different type of options to try to get a show going again. So if it happens, he'll make it happen.
Jericho's still planning on doing his cruise in, like, March?
No, like, I think October now, actually. But, like, not this October, like October 2021.
Would you go on a cruise in October 2021 with a bunch of wrestling fans who, let's be honest, aren't always the most clean?
Thing is, you get an episode of Dynamite, though. I mean, that's kind of awesome.
Yeah, okay. You go ahead. Have fun on your Corona cruise. I'm going to chill at home and watch Dynamite on TV.
Me and Chris Jericho? That's like bucket list stuff right there.
I've met Chris Jericho.
Okay, well, maybe for you it's not a big deal. For me, it's a huge deal. So
been there, done that. It was fine. He's cool. Let's talk about AEW. Zack Ryder was on the show. Zack Ryder helped Cody.
Wasn't called Zack Ryder, though.
Oh, no, Matt Cardona. But, like, come on. I'm trying to talk about a guy that people know about. If I say Matt Cardona, I'm going to call him Zack Ryder for a while until people realize Zack Ryder is Matt Cardona. I still call Cody Rhodes. I'm not just calling him Cody. I call them whatever I want, John, okay? I call Dolph Ziggler, okay? I do what I want.
I just wish AEW would have acknowledged that he was known as, like, Zack Ryder, because, like, oh, it's Matt Cardona. Like, everyone knows who that is. Like,
yeah,
I don't think a lot of people knew who that was.
Is that Matt Cardona? And we're like, I don't know. Who's Matt Cardona? I'm pretty sure that's Zack Ryder. You look pretty jacked, though, right? Look good.
Well, he's always been jacked. It's just like in WWE, it's Land of the Giants, right? So he comes there and he looks huge. It's a lot of guys that, like, came to, like, the TNA from WWE. They always looked huge, but it's just because everyone's smaller there.
Yeah. Like Heath Slater looks gigantic in Impact, right?
Exactly.
Gigantic. Cody Rhodes beat Warhorse with a figure 4 leg lock submission to retain the TNT title. What did you think of Warhorse?
I thought for a guy who probably hasn't wrestled in quite a while, I thought he did all right. I mean, it was an okay match. I mean, it was nothing compared to the Eddie Kingston match, but yeah, I thought it was fine for a guy who just came out of nowhere and probably hasn't wrestled in months.
Yeah, I don't know. People were, like, really excited about Warhorse. I liked Eddie Kingston. I liked the promo. I liked the gimmick. I liked the match. This, I didn't like as much. I thought the match was good. Warhorse seems like he's a good wrestler, but, like, what is the gimmick, man? He's, like, half Tatanka, half Ultimate Warrior?
That's what it kind of seemed like. Renegade kind of
it was
sort
weird.
Of thing. Like, he's not bad. It's just the gimmick doesn't really suit, like, what his wrestling is, though. But, you know, I think he's still probably pretty new in wrestling, so he just hasn't, like, put that all together yet.
Yeah.
But there's potential there.
That gimmick needs to be like 6'5" and jacked to the gills. Like Brian Cage is Warhorse. You know what I mean? Not this guy. It was weird.
I feel you. But this is AEW or feds like AEW where there's not a lot of big wrestlers, so you can get away with it.
It was super indie. It's a super indie gimmick, and it's just like, yeah. I don't know. When I see Cody wrestling a guy like that, it's just kind of like, okay. He was good in the ring, but like he didn't look like much. It's hard to believe. Because Cody looks so good, Cody looks like a world champion, And this Warhorse guy kind of looked like a shitty indie wrestler. And he's not shitty, he's like good, but the gear, the gimmick, the face paint, the whole deal is kind of like, okay. Okay, dude, you haven't figured out what you are. No one's told you what to be. You've just decided to be this. Maybe somebody told him to be this, and he listened for some reason. I don't know what happened there. I don't like it. Okay, I don't like it. Zack Ryder showed up to help Cody because Dark Order guys showed up. Dark Order, they're just like punching bags for people at this point. So Dark Order guys show up to attack Cody for some reason. I'm not sure why. And then Zack Ryder helps Cody and took out the Dark Order guys and then hugs Cody because they're good friends and they go to Disney World together. And then Kenny Omega and Hangman beat Stu Grayson and Evil Uno to retain the AEW tag titles with the V-Trigger Buckshot Lariat combo. I thought that match was very good, by the way. I mean, I thought that was probably the best match on the whole show, right?
That or the main event. I like the main event.
Yeah, we'll get to the main event. But I liked what happened there with Kenny and Hangman and Grayson and Uno. And then afterwards, we had a whole deal with the Dark Order. So Brody Lee is there watching Grayson and Uno, and he was mad that they lost. And Colt Cabana was on commentary for the match. He's also affiliated with the Dark Order. Anna Jay seems like she's joined the Dark Order too. She's like wearing a mask and she's with them now. They have a lady with them. And Brody Lee, the Exalted One, tells Colt and Anna Jay to leave the ringside area so they don't see what he's going to do, like the dirty work. Like the new appointees to the Dark Order, like the new prospects, he doesn't want them to see how he treats the other members of the Dark Order because he doesn't want them to think that it may happen to them. I like that whole Brody Lee thing, and I like that he tells them to go away when he does the dirty work to the other Dark Orders. So he pushes Grayson, and he yells at Uno for losing the match, and Brody says Hangman has pissed him off for the last time, and now he's going to pay. So then all sorts of Dark Order guys surround the ring. There's like a dozen masked Dark Order jabroni guys, the Dark Order Druids. And then the Young Bucks get in the ring to like defend Hangman and Kenny. And then more guys show up. And then FTR shows up, and they also help Kenny and Hangman and the Bucks defend the ring and beat up the Dark Order jabronis, the foot soldiers, the ninjas. And then they beat them all up, and then they send them out of the ring, and Brody Lee just like laughs at them. Which sets up next week all those guys. So FTR, the Bucks, Hangman, and Kenny versus Brody Lee, Grayson, Uno, and 3 more mystery Dark Orders. I'm guessing the guy 5 and maybe more of them. I don't know. Not because Silver and Reynolds, the other 2 masked Dark Orders that you know that have names, they're already in a match. They'll be wrestling Cody and Zack Ryder in a tag team match on Wednesday. So if Brody, Grayson, and Uno are there, and I guess you've got 5 who's competed against Hangman in a one-on-one match, who are the other 2 members of this Dark Order 6-person tag team in this 12-man tag team match set up for Dynamite Wednesday? I guess if it's 5, maybe it's 6 and 7? Like, who are these guys? Just like some guys? Does it matter? Griff Garrison?
I don't believe Griff Garrison. I think he's teaming with Brian Pillman Jr. on Dark this week against FTR. so it's not going to be him. But if I remember correctly, there was some sort of like football player that joined the Dark Order. Like, remember there was some vignettes for that a while back. I believe he's one of those guys.
Okay. I don't know. They all
So
look
there
the
you go.
same wearing the masks. It's hard to tell who's who. I don't really care. And they don't even have names. They're just numbers. I don't know. They're like the conquistadors at this point. You know? Conquistador 1 and 2 and whatever. Who cares? So that match is going to happen. I like the whole dynamic with the FTR and what's going on there. And they added a new wrinkle to that whole story this week, which I thought was interesting. The FTR are in a conference room to sign their AEW contract. Tony Schiavone was there for some reason. I guess he works for AEW. Arn Anderson looks over their contract as their tag team specialist manager, confidant, whatever. Why is Arn Anderson with the FTR? So Arn Anderson is Cody's manager, right? Coach, whatever. Cody is good friends with Hangman, the Bucks, and Kenny Omega. But it's not really clear. Like, Cody's not really associated with them, even though he's still technically a member of the Elite, and they all kind of started it together, right? But Cody's not really a part of their storyline and hasn't been for quite some time. And now there's this whole rift between Hangman and the Bucks and Kenny, and Hangman seems to be siding more with FTR, even though Hangman and Kenny are the tag team champions. And now Cody's coach, Arn Anderson, is seemingly also coaching FTR. So how does Cody feel about the FTR? Is he more Team FTR, Arn Anderson, Hangman? And what does that mean with Cody's relationship with the Bucks and Kenny Omega? Like, there are a lot of different things that got thrown into this with Arn Anderson showing up, because Arn Anderson has been associated only with Cody Rhodes. And now all of a sudden, he's here advising the FTR on their contract that they're signing with AEW. It's interesting.
Well, Hangman was there too, so I mean, they're friends somewhat with the Elite, right?
Yes, but Kenny doesn't seem to like them.
Oh well, too bad for Kenny.
And they have this thing with the Bucks where, like, they like them, but you know that there's this rivalry. It's a friendly rivalry now, but you could tell it's going to bubble to the surface and they're going to have a match, right? So there's a lot going on with the FTR and with Hangman. He's pouring drinks for everybody. Says the Mid-Atlantic boys ride again. I guess they know each other. Hangman and the FTR, they're all good buddies. Arn Anderson's there, all celebrating. And the FTR, they also get a 10-second tag rule and tag team rope rules in effect for their matches. So their matches are going to be more traditional tag team matches. As we saw this week on Dynamite, there was a 10-man tag where, like, everybody was in the ring at once and the referee didn't seem to care. It was Jurassic Express, Best Friends, and Orange Cassidy getting the win over the entire Inner Circle. Luchasaurus hitting the chokeslam on Sammy Guevara after Matt Hardy interfered and pushed Sammy off the top rope. Luchasaurus got the win there, beating Sammy. I like that if Sammy is back, he's just going to be taking pinfalls, just getting beat up. So I think Sammy should lose for, like, a while. You're going to have to
He won a dark, though.
Did he?
Yeah.
He should be losing constantly. He should not be winning for a long time. They shouldn't do anything with Sammy for, like, at least a year. But yeah, so the FTR have their big deal, and now they have this big match against all of the Dark Order with everybody all together. We'll see what happens. That's Dynamite coming up this week. We'll also have Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy in a debate to set up their rematch, which will take place on the August 12th episode of Dynamite. FTR going to host the Tag Team Appreciation Night on Dynamite. That'll be sink or swim to see if the FTR can really cut a promo here when they're left to their own devices in AEW, not scripted by the WWE. We'll see what they can do in a couple weeks' time. It's going to be a big opportunity for them. Coming up this Wednesday on Dynamite, a title match for the AEW title, Jon Moxley defending against Darby Allin in a match where no one expects Darby Allin to win. Again, put in this big match, and you kind of know going in, well, it's not going to happen for you here, Darby. But it should be a good match, Moxley and Darby. And you like their the main event of AEW Dynamite this week? It was solid. Darby and Moxley beating Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. That finish was, by God, brutal. Darby Allin with the thumbtacks on the bottom of the skateboard, jumps off the top rope, kind of double foot stomps the skateboard on the back of Ricky Starks. Starks had a bunch of thumbtacks in him, and it looked like some of the thumbtacks scraped off his back, and he was just bleeding like crazy from his back immediately after that spot. And that led to the finish, Darby getting the pinfall there on Ricky Starks. Hell of a finish, brother. But 2 thumbtack spots, like 2 weeks in a row, AEW's doing thumbtacks, really? Last week it was Cody and Eddie Kingston. Cody taking a bunch of tacks. This week it's Ricky Starks taking a bunch of tacks. They like the thumbtacks, brother, but 2 weeks in a row? It's a lot.
I just thought the placement was better, where it's like you had that at the start of the show. It's like, okay, like how do you top that? Like it was kind of hard to top that. Now this is at the end of the show, the last spot. This was a perfect spot for it.
Yep. And was this show taped after last week's show?
No, I think this is actually the live show. Next week will be the tape show.
Oh, okay. I see how it is.
By the way, no Excalibur this week.
No, I didn't notice.
It was a better show, actually.
Taz replaced him on commentary, right?
I find Taz and JR much better together. There's so much more chemistry, it seems.
Well, they have a history, you know? I don't think JR and Excalibur, I don't know, they don't seem to get along on commentary.
Well, they don't have a lot in common, I guess, or they just don't have a lot of chemistry. Like, Taz, for whatever reason, like, he just seems to know what to say to JR to get him going.
Well, they've done commentary with each other a lot in the past, and JR taught Taz a lot of what he knows as far as what to do on commentary, so I'm not surprised. Nyla Rose backstage with her manager, Vicky Guerrero, talking about the Deadly Draw Tag Team Cup. So the Deadly Draw rules, it's a tag team tournament for the women. All the participants draw a color, and if you match a color with somebody else, they're your tag team partner. Didn't WCW do this?
Well, it's Battle Bowl, whatever, like the Lethal Lottery, whatever.
Yeah.
But I believe Brandy and Allie, like, I think they're already a team, though. They don't have to pick a color.
Well, that doesn't seem fair.
It's not fair.
Everybody is a makeshift tag team except for Brandy and Allie. They get to pick their own partner. That's not fair. Everything's a draw except for them. Everything's for Brandy. I wonder why. I mean, they got to make that a storyline. That's weird. So Nyla Rose picks purple. And then Ariane, formerly of the WWE as Cameron, she shows up, and she is also drawn purple. So Nyla Rose and Ariane will be a tag team. Cool.
And didn't they say, like, this starts Monday? Like, there's going to be, like, a YouTube show just for this?
Oh, really? This is not going to be part of Dynamite?
Well, I don't know if this is going to be, like, you know, a whole turn in one shot. This might be over a couple of weeks or something. So you might get some of it on Dynamite. But it seems some of this content will just be on YouTube as well.
Well, that's going to be tough to pay attention to then. I don't know if I'll be watching that. That's a lot going on. Okay. I want to end the show with the best thing that happened this week in professional wrestling. Okay?
I know what you're talking about.
The best thing that happened this week in professional wrestling. MJF on the microphone delivering a classic promo where before this promo I thought, yeah, it'll probably be MJF and Moxley at All Out, but I don't think MJF's quite ready. I don't think it's MJF's time. I don't think it's MJF's turn. He'll be ready in you know, a few years to be the world champion. I don't know if he's quite there yet. But this promo convinced me. This promo was like next level. He's there because he's doing stuff that nobody else is doing in this wrestling business. Now, this is a lengthy promo. We're going to talk about it. We're going to react to it. We're going to play it for you here. If you didn't hear it, MJF in the middle of the ring, kicking ass on the microphone. It felt like a pipe bomb. Right, Johnny? Like we talked about it this week, didn't it? It felt like a CM Punk pipe bomb.
Well, he just touched on a lot of notes that I've heard a lot of negative comments. A lot of what you've said as well, of course. about Jon Moxley, and he just said it where most people wouldn't say it on actual wrestling TV. You would just hear it on shows like this. So it was kind of cool that he said a lot of what he said.
Which, like, when I saw CM Punk cut the promo on WWE and on how it works, I was like, wow, Punk said a lot of the things that I've been saying on Wrestling Uncensored. That's what we said at the time when he cut that promo. It's like, yeah, he's saying a lot of the things that we say, but he actually said it on Raw. And MJF is saying a lot of the things that I've been saying about Jon Moxley, except he said it on Dynamite. Here he is.
Thank you. I would like to thank Mr. Tony Khan for giving me the opportunity to speak to you Marks people. I meant people.
Marks.
Now, let's be honest with ourselves. We all know wrestling fans aren't all that bright. But fortunately for you, I've been given an exorbitant amount of time here tonight to force feed you all with knowledge like a 5-year-old being fed mac and cheese. Oh, okay, honey, I'll read off the sheet. Can you just do the world a favor? Give me a little smile, huh? You look so much prettier when you do that, honey. Thank you so much. Okay, speech time.
There's a lady there. I don't know who she was.
I love you too.
With MJF. Who was that lady?
Before I start this speech, I would like to implore you, our AEW fans, who we are so grateful for, please use the following hashtags. Hashtag MJF2020 and hashtag NotMyChampion. You'll find out why in a moment's time, so please bear with me. Thank you. Right now, I'm sure you people are shocked to see me here on Dynamite 2 weeks in a row. Yeah, not on the sidelines, with the bench warmers. You're doing great, by the way, guys. Proud of you.
Talking about the crowd
now,
there.
I'm sure you're asking yourself, MJF, that's a really good point. Why does that always happen to you? I'll tell you. The reason I'm never spotlighted 2 weeks in a row is because a certain individual is afraid of being upstaged 2 weeks in a row. And that is why it is time for a change in leadership around here. Change. It's a powerful word I just used. I remember when this company first started, I saw men calling for change. One man in particular called for a paradigm shift. He said he wanted out with the old and in with the new. Well, I don't know about you people, but a guy on top of the card who gets to do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants, and wrestle whoever he wants, simply because he came from the place of titans, isn't new. That's old hat, brother.
All right, so that's good stuff there, and we got to break that down a little bit. So he's talking about Jon Moxley, and he's saying because he was able to wrestle in WWE, he comes to AEW, he gets to be the champion, he gets to wrestle whoever he wants, he gets to do whatever he wants. That's not a paradigm shift. That's what, people have been doing in this business for a long time. That's what Hulk Hogan did when he went to WCW. He was a WWF guy for so long, a top guy, then he went to WCW, and he was a top guy there, and he did whatever he wanted. So that's what MJF is saying, and he's saying that's not what AEW is supposed to be about. He continues.
This quickly went from being a revolution and has unfortunately turned into a dictatorship, and that is why Jon Moxley is not my champion. Now hold on, people. I cannot tell a lie. Absolutely. I will not stand here and pretend that Jon Moxley isn't one of the greatest wrestlers our great sport has ever seen. However, I feel it's high time that we, as a society, have an honest discussion about all the negative side effects that have occurred ever since the Moxley reign has started. Wrestling. It's on the marquee, and yet people, where is it? All I see is a bunch of great wrestlers having to come out here and perform gymnastics, flip-flop and fly and/or almost die in an attempt to make you, the viewers at home, think they're good at their job. That's just wrong. But I don't blame you, AEW fans. You see, you have been brainwashed into thinking that that is what good professional wrestling is. And that brainwashing starts all the way at the tippy top. And that is why, Jonathan, a world champion is supposed to lead by example. He is not supposed to let his roster mates come out here and play wrestle, and he's damn sure not supposed to come out here and cosplay as a specific wrestler, and that's a stone cold fact.
Oh man, He said John Moxley's basically cosplaying as Stone Cold Steve Austin and ripping him off, which, there's an element of that there.
Now, I don't have to play wrestler because I am one. I'm undefeated. I am the first and last MJF. You know what I'm not, though, ladies and gentlemen? I'm not a media analyst, and yet everybody wants to pretend to be because everybody wants to talk about ratings. And that's why we treat Dictator John so well, right? Because of his name value, right? Because where on earth would the numbers lie without Dictator John, right? Wrong. You know who on average happens to draw better numbers minute for minute than your Dictator John? Yours truly. Oh, you didn't know that, did you? That's because Dictator John doesn't want you to. See, according to Dictator John, I'm not on his level. Why should he have to deal with the likes of me? And to that I say, how dare you? AEW is meant to be the land of opportunity, and you've squandered that. And that is why it's time for a new guard around here. Because the old guard's been running the show on this planet for centuries, and look where it's gotten us, people. War, famine, disease. Our earth is dying and so are our morals, and yet here we are with John Moxley running the old guard, and our infrastructure is falling and falling fast. Well, I'm here to tell you people that I can catch this company, throw it on my back, and sprint this brand up the steep terrain to the very top. Because my talent outweighs your tenure, John. I am AEW. I bleed black, white, and gold. I'm the guy who's going to be leading this company for the next 25 years. Do the math and grab a calculator. And that is why I'm making a promise to you that I will not stop until we go from happily glad-handing each other for being the alternative and transform this brand into the pinnacle of professional wrestling.
I mean, yes. Say that again.
Do the math and grab a calculator. And that is why I'm making a promise to you that I will not stop until we go from happily glad-handing each other for being the alternative and transform this brand into the pinnacle of professional wrestling.
Fuck yeah.
Very poignant remarks from
John Moxley, I am challenging you for your world title and announcing my candidacy as the AEW World Champion. I'll see you at All Out, John.
I mean, that's really good. And to close it with announcing my candidacy, he kind of set it up like a presidential thing, but saying announcing my candidacy as AEW champion, like that's kind of what it is, right? Like it's a political thing and you have to get enough votes in the room to say, yes, this is the guy that's going to be our next champion. And he makes a really strong case for it right there. That is a hell of a promo. The passion, talking about, it's time to stop happily glad-handing each other about being the alternative and start being the pinnacle of professional wrestling. It's time to stop being happy with beating NXT and start beating the whole fucking WWE. It's time to be a fucking wrestling program that could generate over 1 million or 2 million even, can imagine that, viewers per week. It's time to be a wrestling program that really shakes things up, that really entertains, that really fucking does it right. And John Moxley is not lighting the world on fire as your world champion. Chris Jericho was doing a lot better. And there are guys there like Kenny Omega, like Hangman Page, like MJF, that would do a much better job of revolutionizing that company and taking it to the next level. I feel like AEW has all the parts and all the right ideas and everything going for them. They just don't want to. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I feel like they're scared to pull certain triggers. They're scared to push Kenny all the way to the top. They should have made him world champion a fucking long time ago. They're scared to do certain things. They don't want the perception. They really want to protect John Moxley for some reason. Who, come on. He's okay, but it's still Dean Ambrose here. And making your top guy a ex-WWE guy who was the third man in the Shield. When you see Dean Ambrose, you think, well, he's not Roman and he's not Seth. Where are they? They're still in the real company. Oh, he's just the offshoot in this offshoot thing, this WWE Junior. Oh, and he's the champion. Well, yeah, of course he's the champion. Look at these other guys. This is a stupid company. This is like NXT, right? What am I even watching? AEW, what's that? This is WWE too? Is he still in the Shield? Oh, they changed his name. It's like a different name. It doesn't look good. It makes your company look like you're a B version of WWE when you make Dean Ambrose your world champion. When you make one of your own guys the world champion and you showcase him and you make it look like, oh shit, this guy's actually better than the other guys in the other company. That's how you stand out as a top company. Just promoting their guys that didn't want to be there anymore doesn't make you stand out. It just makes you look like a B version of what they're doing because they've moved on. And he was only the third man in the Shield. He's not Roman Reigns. Like, if you got Roman, okay, I get it. Make him champion, sure. But you didn't get that. You got the third guy. Raw has Seth. SmackDown has Roman. And Dynamite has Dean Ambrose. Not good. MJF spelled it out perfectly. Beautiful. Beautiful promo. Classic stuff. And if he can do that, give him the belt. I don't know anybody else in pro wrestling that can do that. Top that, Jon Moxley. Show up on AEW TV and attempt to come close to what MJF is doing microphone-wise. And then I'll say, okay, fine. Give it up for Moxley. Give him the belt. Keep him champion. Sure. I've watched this guy cut promos for a very long time. The most compelling promo he ever cut was on Chris Jericho's podcast and lasted like an hour. Step it up. MJF time.
Well, I'm glad you're finally on board for this. I'm glad that promo got to you. I'm glad. Just now you finally can believe in the whole this is one undefeated guy versus another undefeated guy. Now you can actually believe that hey, he could actually win this match at All Out. I hope so. And this is why we're going to get that match with Darby Allin. I know you feel like it's just a throwaway match, but it's to help show the fact that Moxley did defend his title before he eventually possibly loses it.
Well, he's defended a bunch.
Not that much, though. I mean, if you look at how much Cody's defended his title, Moxley's been a horrible champion.
Well, Cody defends every week. Moxley,
almost every week.
Yeah, Cody's a TV champion, though. Moxley's a world champion. It's different. You're not supposed to defend that much, But
even the tag team titles have been defended much more than Moxley has.
Well, Moxley, he's had different injuries during his title run. His wife had coronavirus. He's had different issues preventing him from showing up. It's not really his fault, but it's partly his fault. Didn't he get hurt on a New Japan show and then have to miss an AEW show?
But that was during his title reign, though.
So it still happened. And they made him world champion. Didn't seem like a good move.
A lot of that was Chris Jericho, though.
Do you think they do it with MJF? He's so young, man. He's so young. When he said the next 20, 25 years, he's not kidding. In 25 years, he'll be 49. He's 24 years old. He'll be 25 in March of 2021. He's not even 25. On the one hand, he's so good. Why not? But on the other hand, he's still very young, so there's time. He's kind of small, and in the ring, he's not the best AEW has to offer. He's not bad, but he's not the best. On the microphone, he might be the best. He's getting there. He's getting near Jericho level. He's got to do what he did on Wednesday night a little bit more often to be close to Jericho, but when he's getting those kinds of comparisons, him and Jericho as the best promos in AEW, it's a big comparison. Jericho's one of the greatest promos of all time.
Well, it's just, you look going forward, what is there for Moxley if he gets past MJF? You have the rematch with Jericho, and that's really pretty much it. There's not much else for Moxley to do. So it kind of feels right for MJF to win.
There we go. AEW All Out. Jon Moxley versus MJF. I think we might see a new world's champion. September 5th, AEW All Out. Coming up. It's coming up here. We're in August. Thank you to everybody supporting. Support our sponsors. Go to IP Vanish. Support yourself on the internet. They've got a big deal, $11.99 for 3 months of IP Vanish, ending this weekend. So hit up IP Vanish before Sunday night. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net, vpn.ringsidereport.net. Go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code ringside20 for 20% off plus free shipping. And, of course, go to stitcher.com/premium and use the promo code ringside for a free month of Stitcher Premium. RingsideReport.net, in the meantime, is our website. Follow Johnny North on Twitter at North Genesis, Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. Follow me at Dave Simon MMA on all the things. Like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and when you do, click the bell so you get notifications every time that we are on. For Johnny North, I am Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!